Hello there, people. As soon as I can, parties are planned, and I'm still banned, but Salty Potato isn't. So, Riot just released this thing on their website. I don't know, is it a dev blog or whatever? Basically, they just released the preseason changes for 2021 gameplay plans, and I gotta say, finally, they're giving the items an icon update. I suppose this is Twin Shadows. This looks like Archangels. Uh, but I don't like the fact that they have some items dark here because these are some of my favorite items. Like, if they remove Rhyolive's Crystal Scepter, I'm, like, legit quitting the game. Okay. So, hey everyone, it might feel weird to talk about preseason in June. Yes, it fucking is. But but we want to start the conversation early so you have plenty of time to prepare and give us feedback. I'm giving you feedback right now. So, basically what Riot are planning to do for the next preseason is just update the item system. Now, I'm not going to read all this, mainly because I'm dyslexic, and the other reason is that you probably don't want to hear it. But I've already read all this, so I'm just going to give you guys a TLDR here. So, items provide power for early consequences and high moments. And basically they just go through like different things they believe items do in the game, and they think how the current item system represents those things. So basically this here is about snowballing, and Riot basically feels like the snowballing is pretty okay in League of Legends, but I don't think that has to do with the item system. That has to do with how the game functions. So I really kind of don't like that they put this in here, because it kind of feels like they're tooting their own horn. Like, no matter what the item system is, if you get ahead, you get ahead. It doesn't matter what items are in the game or what they do. Like, I feel like they just put this in here and it's completely pointless, because you just get kills, you get ahead, and yeah, no matter what the items are, you're still gonna win. Items are satisfying to earn and use. Well, kind of. This has to do kind of like with power spikes, and certain champions, when they take certain items, they hit a really hard power spike. Like, for example, Rise, that I've been playing a lot of recently. As soon as he finishes, fully stacks like the Archangel Staff and fully stacks the Tear of the Goddess, the fucking Rod of Ages, he becomes like way too powerful, and they think that's okay. But to be fair, item power spikes are kind of what make some champions champions. Like, Akali isn't a champion until she builds Hextech Gunblade. So I kind of get this, you know what I mean? And I can agree that it's kind of good where it is now, because, well, they're going to talk about the other point, because the only problem I have with this is that some champions just rely on certain items, but situationally they might not be allowed to build them. But they talk about that. Like here, reactive item choices add aim to game variance and reward strategy. They think it's okay. I actually think it's awful. This is where I'm going to start to like shit on Riot a bit, but situational item building is quite shit in League of Legends. Like, particularly when it comes to healing reduction. Like, this, I'm gonna use this as an example, right? Mages and tanks have no way of dealing with healing. Like, bruisers, assassins, and marksmen do. You just build an executioners, that's it. You've dealt with healing. But with tanks specifically, all you have in terms of your options to deal with healing is a Thornmail, and that only reduces healing if the enemy auto attacks you. So if you're up against a Mundo that ignores you, or you're up against a Vladimir, it's literally not gonna do anything. So tanks just have no way of dealing with healing. And mages, you know, most mages do like building an Oblivion Orb, but not a lot of mages like finishing it into Morellonomicon. And the other problem with Morellonomicon is that it's a full item. You have to spend 3,000 gold before you get any type of healing reduction. And especially considering that mages are really, like, if there was one class in the game that depends on item power spikes, it's mages. And you're just delaying those power spikes even more. So it feels really unsatisfying when I'm playing a mage in a game where I have to build Morellonomicon. especially if on that Mage Merolnomicon isn't all that good, like Twisted Fate, for example. He can't really use it as well as, a Syndra or a Brand. So I'm using healing reduction as an example here, but it's a lot more than that. They do feel like tanks have a lot of options, and tanks do. Other classes don't. Like marksman, I feel I have the least options of anything in terms of items in the game. Items augment your champion's playstyle. That is true, but that has more to do with how you want to play a champion. Like, if I want to play full AP Jax, I am going to build a Lich Bane, I am going to build a Death Cap. Like, items just don't really have anything to do with that. Like, items just help me achieve what I want to do. So, I kind of disagree with that. They also kind of mention that some champions just build the same items every game because there are the best options for them, and that's quite true. Like, Jax, no matter what, is just going to build the Trinity Force, Sterix Gauge, and Blade of the Ruin King, and is just going to win. So, I do kind of agree with Ryan on that. They do have to not only have more item choices, but also certain items for certain champions are just a must, and if you don't build them on them, you're basically trolling. Like, if you're building Rise without Tear of the Goddess, what are you doing? You are literally trolling. I will report you if you do that. Don't try me. I will actually report you if you do that. So, item system is intuitive. Absolutely not. It's basically the recommended items, while not being ideal, most people just build them. Like, I've seen Rise players, I'm using Rise a lot, but he's a good example, don't build Rod of Ages, even though it is kind of an essential item on him. So, yeah, it's not really intuitive. It's basically just whatever everyone else is building. Like, you have a Fiora in your game, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna predict what she's building. So, yeah. But also, I think this is more or less talking about how it's difficult for new players. It really isn't. Like, they specifically made it a goal here. Like, it's believing it's possible to achieve that growth. They talk about, like, newer players here. The item system is kind of simple for new players. I'm not gonna lie. They just look at the recommended tab, they realize they have gold, and they buy it. It works the same as in any other game. It works the same as real life. I would actually like to see some more items that evolve and are a bit more intuitive. Like, for example, Tear of the Goddess, the tier items. I would love to see more items that are intuitive like that you can stack some way, or you can evolve and do give you unique effects, or items that you can evolve in different ways. Like, imagine if Tear of the Goddess worked like a support item, where if you stack it using one way, or if you stack it using another way, it evolves into either Archangel Staff or Muramana. Like, I think that will be way more intuitive than just spend gold, spam ability, So, goals for this preseason. Item purchasing is quick and intuitive. It will never be. Every champion can make strategic decisions through item choices every game. I hope to God they do that. Item building enable exciting ways to master your champion. See, I think champion mastery has actually very little to do with items. An understanding of items right now is enough to have champion mastery. Like, if you understand what items Rise has to build, and then you just practice Rise a lot, you'll be good with Rise. I'm playing a lot of Rise recently, guys. He's all that's on my mind. I'm basically one-tricking him. Just give me a break. So I hope that... I cannot see a way that they would change the item system that would actually achieve this. But I hope they find a way. Surprise me, Riot. Items feel... I think they misspelt especially. Items feel powerful and enhance your champion's fantasy. Okay, that's actually kind of true right now. Like, the item system currently does that, but if they can improve on that, I think they'll be fine. Iconic items are retained, and you do not have to relearn everything from scratch. Okay, so Ashe with Thornmail is still viable, guys. Don't worry, they're not removing that. Polish every item. Yeah, okay. Like, I really want to understand what they mean by that. Like, I'm gonna read this. We want every item in the item shop to have a clear purpose. Okay, every item in the item shop right now has a clear purpose. It's just that sometimes it's not optimal. Like, for example, what's a really good example here? Like, Morellonomicon is also an example that I keep bringing up, but again, if you're playing a mage like Twisted Fate and the enemy team just has a lot of healing, you basically just can't build Morellonomicon. Like, you can, but it's not going to be useful. So, I hope they do change that. Because, well, healing is so annoying. I hope you all understand. I'm kind of losing my train of thought here. Items fit in one of two archetypes, either contextual purpose or kit augment. That is kind of true. Like, Rise, again, standard items every game is just Tear of the Goddess into Archangel Staff and then Rod of Ages. But it would be nice if the enemy has a lot of healing to also build a Morellonomicon. So, yeah, items do fall into one of these two categories. And again, they give an example here, Quicksilver Sash. If the enemy team has a lot of CC, yeah, you are going to build a lot of Quicksilver Sash. A lot of Quicksilver Sash. You're going to be building Quicksilver Sash. So, very true. But if they're talking about like changing that, that would be interesting. Interesting build paths. Yeah, okay. Like, as I said, I would like more evolving items because they are way more intuitive and have very clear power spikes. But how can you make item building more interesting? Like, it's basically tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 item. Like, if they added a 4th tier, I suppose it would be kind of interesting. But, yeah, I really don't see a way that this can be more interesting. Item design is elegant. That's a weird word to use. And we use only the mechanics that we need. Okay, that's kind of true, I suppose. Like, I suppose what they kind of mean here, the first thing that comes to mind is that a while ago it was kind of meta to build Hextech Gunblade. Like, this was a while ago on LeBlanc. But the thing is, she doesn't use the AD portion of that. So, yeah, I kind of see, she doesn't need the AD of that. So if they kind of rework items to only give you stats that you can use, so like if you're a mage and you're building Hextech Gunblade, instead of giving you like 80 ability power and I think it's 40 attack damage, it will just give you like 50 adaptive force. Like it's either AP or AD depending on what you build. I think that will be kind of better, and we'll definitely see a high increase in play of Hextech Gunblade. So yeah. I kind of agree. I think I may be reading too much into this. I read this, guys, but it was about an hour ago, so a lot of stuff I've already forgotten. Items contribute to overall healthy game, but not removing counterplay and weaknesses. Yes. Just yes. Like, here I see the words Fed Assassin, and holy shit, I can go on forever about how if the enemy assassin's fed and you're playing ADC, there's basically no way that you're going to win the game. But even a GA, what is the GA going to do? He's just going to sit over you and wait, and you're still dead. There's basically no point. But basically, here is the new item shop upgrade. Now, this is a kind of like alpha footage of what it's going to look like, but yeah, here when it says good against Cassiopeia and Camille, it's not like Protobelt is not good against Cassiopeia because she counters it with her W. And how in what universe is Rabadon's death cap good against Cassiopeia? And again, Morellonomicon, it's only good against Cassiopeia if she takes Conqueror. Like, you don't need healing reduction against Cassiopeia unless she takes Conqueror. So, yeah, I kind of don't like the good against thing. Like, unless it's a system that looks at the game on an individual basis. But again, if you're going something like full lifesteal Xin Zhao and it's not going to recommend a Morellonomicon, like, what do? Better recommendations. See, I don't want better recommendations. I want just... First of all, I think they should do recommendations one of two ways. They should create a system that looks at the game actively and recommends items to you. like an active recommended item section. Like if the enemy team is building a lot of healing, a lot of sustain, recommend a Morel Nomicon. But also, it should work on an average. Like on average, every single Rise player is building Rod of Ages. Why is it still not in his recommended? Focus choices. I don't get that. I'm going to read. Not every item is equally viable at any given point in the game. Very true. Very true. Some items are kind of early focused. Some items are kind of late focused. Like there are items like Oblivion Orb where people will buy early because it's very cost efficient, but then just sell it. So yeah. Contextual analysis. Oh, is this what I've been asking for? But yeah, this is basically the all item. I've already covered this. This is basically the all item section, and I kind of like that more than it is now, because to find an item right now in the shop is impossible. Like, I waste a good 10 seconds in base just trying to find the item I'm trying to build, especially if it's not recommended. All items you need on screen, fine. Consistent position. With the invested player in mind, we wanted to make this place where items are placed logical layouts. That just doesn't make sense. Data enchantments. We also want data only influence highlights visible for your champion. Okay, so basically they want to make items more impactful, more than they already are. Like, that's what I'm getting from this. And, well, okay, you can argue that basically items are the whole point of the game. Like, why do you CS? For gold, to build items. Why do you get kills? For gold, to build items. Why do you take towers? For gold, to build items. So, yeah. I don't think items need to be very impactful. I think items are quite impactful right now, specifically on some champions. But there are some champions that just don't have any specific items that work well with them. They just build whatever's OP. Like, Ahri doesn't have, like, a single item power spike. Neither does Twisted Fate. Like, Lichbane is good on Twisted Fate, but it's not exactly a huge power spike for him. So, kinda. This was by Riot Scruffy. So, also, guys, update on Arcane, because I read this, like, literally a second ago. It's been postponed to 2021. So, oh boy, I was gonna have to wait for that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is kind of my opinions on this. Like, I proofread this before. I may not have a 100% grasp on it, but I hope you guys enjoy, and I want to know your opinions. But specifically, if you disagree with anything, just tell Riot. Like, this is why I'm making this video. So yeah, have fun, and I'll see you guys later.